Some horror games are more than just scary. They feel quiet, uncomfortable, and hard to handle. This list is about horror games that feel better and safer when someone else is with you. The Mortuary Assistant is a horror game that feels simple at first, but slowly gets under your skin the longer you play. The whole experience takes place inside a small mortuary where normal night shifts start turning into something seriously disturbing. This game focusing on turning everyday work into pure tension. Instead of running around with weapons, most of the time you're doing calm tasks like embalming bodies, checking paperwork, and cleaning, while strange things begin happening around you. What makes it scary is how natural everything feels. Lights flicker, and sometimes something just appears when you least expect it. You never know if it's part of the job or something supernatural messing with you. There's also a smart system where one of the bodies is secretly possessed, and you have to figure out which one it is by paying attention to clues and performing rituals.
I suffer no bondage but this rotting, weak, pathetic corpse. Look at me! Look at this pitiful flesh I am service to. But this body is no...
PT is a short horror experience that left a huge impact on players, even though it was only a teaser. The entire game takes place in one small hallway inside a house that keeps looping over and over. But every time you walk through it, something changes. It was created by Kojima in collaboration with Konami, meant to tease a canceled project called Silent Hills. Even as a demo, it showed a new style of horror that felt more realistic and psychological than most games at the time. What makes PT so scary is how unpredictable it feels. Sometimes nothing happens. Other times, the lights go out, or a ghost suddenly appears behind you. The game plays with your expectations instead of throwing constant jump scares. There are also small puzzles hidden in the environment that slowly push you forward, making you explore every corner while feeling nervous the whole time.
All right, approaching the lodge. Oh, it's definitely been here.
We're not picking anything up.
Keep your eyes peeled.
I'm dropping a doppel. Guys?
I've got contact.
We're on our way.
Where are you?
This is starting to freak me out.
We have to regroup. Get back together right now.
It's hunting us!
No!
What happened? What happened?
Phasmophobia is a horror game that feels more like stepping into a real haunted house than playing something scripted. It puts you and your friends inside creepy locations where the goal is to figure out what kind of ghost is haunting the place. The game became huge because of how realistic everything feels. Instead of fighting monsters, you use real ghost hunting tools like EMF readers, spirit boxes, cameras, and temperature sensors to collect evidence and figure out what kind of ghost you're dealing with. What makes it scary is the unpredictability. Sometimes the ghost is quiet, letting tension slowly build. Other times, it suddenly starts a hunt, chasing players through dark hallways while doors slam shut around you. Voice chat even works in-game, so the ghost can react to what you say, which leads to some really intense moments when everyone starts panicking. A.I.L.A is a horror game that leans more into mind-bending fear than simple jump scares. The whole experience feels like stepping inside a broken simulation where reality keeps shifting in unsettling ways. Instead of fighting monsters non-stop, the game focuses on exploring strange environments controlled by an artificial intelligence that slowly turns against you. Hallways change, rooms glitch, and things that feel normal at first start becoming disturbing the longer you stay inside the world. The horror comes from not knowing what's real anymore. Sometimes the danger is obvious, and other times it's hidden in small details like sounds, lighting changes, or objects moving when you're not looking. Gameplay mixes slow exploration with light puzzles and tense moments where you have to react quickly when the AI creates threats around you.
Such is our calling.
Follow your purpose. Gather the other essences.
The rotation must go on. I need to do my part. The steelworks. The outbreak. His mission. My awakening.
Cronos: The New Dawn takes place in a broken future where the world feels constantly threatening. Every area looks like something terrible happened long ago, and you're walking through the aftermath while trying to stay alive. The most interesting mechanic is how enemies work. When creatures fall, they don't always stay down. If bodies are left behind, other monsters can absorb them and come back stronger, which makes every fight feel risky. Sometimes it's smarter to finish things carefully instead of rushing in. Movement and exploration feel slow and heavy on purpose. You're searching dark factories, ruined buildings, and strange, time-shifted zones while managing limited ammo and supplies. The tension builds naturally as you push deeper into unknown areas.
Going to give you 10 seconds.
No, please, no!
The past is beyond our control. You have to accept this in order to move forward.
It was just a prank, man.
Everything you do, every decision you make from now on will open doors to the future.
The choice is yours.
I want you to remember this. I want you to remember this as you play your game.
Until Dawn feels more like playing through a scary movie where every decision actually matters. The whole experience takes place on a remote mountain lodge, where a group of friends reunite and things slowly start going very wrong. The main hook is the choice system. Small decisions, who you trust, where you go, how fast you react, can completely change who lives and who doesn't. The game even shows a butterfly effect screen to remind you that tiny choices can lead to big consequences later. Gameplay mixes exploration, quick reaction moments, and conversations where tone and answers shape relationships. It's easy to get pulled in because you're always wondering what will happen if you choose something different. That mix of player choice, cinematic storytelling, and constant suspense is what makes Until Dawn a game many people still recommend playing at least once. Visage takes place inside a normal-looking house that slowly turns into a nightmare. At first, everything feels quiet and familiar, but as you explore deeper, strange events start happening around you. Instead of guiding you with clear objectives, the game lets you wander freely, figuring things out piece by piece. You uncover different stories connected to the house, and each one changes the environment in disturbing ways. It feels more like discovering a mystery than following a straight path. Sanity plays a big role here. Staying in the dark too long makes things worse, causing hallucinations and dangerous encounters. Sometimes the scariest moments happen simply because you stood in the wrong place for too long. Puzzles are mixed naturally into exploration, making you search rooms, examine objects, and slowly understand what happened in this place. The Last of Us Part 1 is a horror game that doesn't rely on cheap scares, but still keeps you tense almost the entire time. From the beginning, the world feels broken and dangerous, and every quiet moment makes you feel like something bad could happen next. What makes it scary is how grounded everything feels. Resources are limited, enemies are brutal, and running in without thinking usually ends badly. A lot of the fear comes from sneaking through dark spaces, listening for sounds, and deciding whether to fight or stay hidden. The infected are a big reason the tension works so well. Clickers force you to move slowly and carefully, while human enemies react intelligently, making encounters feel unpredictable and stressful. Exploration adds to the horror too. Searching abandoned buildings for supplies often means walking into tight, dark spaces where you never feel fully safe.
It's the outside.
So is that everything you hoped for?
Can't be any worse out there. Can it?
Once upon a time, I had somebody that I cared about. And in this world, that's good for one thing. Getting you killed.
I can take care of myself.
How many close calls have we had?
I get into trouble down there. You make every shot count.
I got this.
Hope you know how to use that thing.
I've had some.
Someone's been watching us.
How do you run from an idea? From a story that lives in your head? I need to escape this nightmare.
Wake says the story will change reality around us. Why are we written into the story?
Alan Wake 2 begins with a strange case in a quiet town where something feels very wrong. People are missing, the environment feels off, and reality doesn't seem stable anymore. The game doesn't explain everything right away, which makes you curious and uneasy from the start. One of the most unique parts is how light works. Your flashlight isn't just for seeing in the dark, you use it to weaken enemies before you can hurt them. This makes every fight feel tense because you have to stay calm, aim the light, and manage your space carefully. Supplies are limited too. Bullets and healing items aren't easy to find, so sometimes avoiding danger is smarter than fighting. Sneaking around, listening for sounds, and choosing the right moment to move becomes a big part of staying alive. Outlast begins with a journalist arriving at an old mental hospital after receiving an anonymous tip. The building looks abandoned. Very early on, it becomes clear that staying here was a terrible idea, and getting out won't be easy. The game is made by Red Barrels, and their main goal was to make players feel helpless. There are no weapons at all. You can't fight back. When danger appears, the only choices are to run, hide, or stay still and hope you aren't found. A handheld camera is your most important tool. Many areas are completely dark, so you need night vision just to move forward. The problem is the battery drains quickly, which creates constant stress. You're always thinking about when to turn it on and when to walk blindly through the dark. Because of its no-combat design and non-stop pressure, Outlast delivers fear in a very direct way. Layers of Fear feels unsettling from the very first moment. The familiar mansion setting looks quiet and almost beautiful, but something always feels off. The game leans heavily into psychological horror, using shifting environments and distorted visuals to mess with your sense of space and reality. Gameplay focuses more on atmosphere than action. There's no fighting back, which makes every moment feel vulnerable. Hallways change when you turn around, rooms rearrange themselves, and familiar paths suddenly feel wrong. The fear doesn't come from jump scares alone, but from never knowing what will change next. Layers of Fear is the kind of horror game that gets inside your head. It doesn't rely on monsters chasing you non-stop, but on making you feel watched and uneasy, which is exactly why it's much harder to play when you're completely alone. MADiSON creates fear by taking away any sense of safety. You're trapped in a quiet house filled with disturbing imagery, strange puzzles, and moments that hit without warning. The story unfolds slowly through notes, photos, and unsettling events, making everything feel personal and deeply uncomfortable. Gameplay focuses on exploration and puzzle solving, but tension is always present. You're mostly defenseless, forced to move carefully and pay attention to sounds, lighting, and small details. Using tools like the camera often puts you directly in danger, making progress feel risky instead of rewarding. MADiSON doesn't rely on constant action or monsters chasing you. It plays with your mind, your patience, and your fear of the unknown, which is exactly why it's one of those horror games that feels far worse when you're playing completely alone. SOMA feels quiet and empty at first. The underwater setting looks abandoned, almost peaceful, but that calm doesn't last. The story slowly pulls you into questions about identity, consciousness, and what it really means to be human, creating a sense of dread that goes deeper than simple fear. Gameplay avoids action and focuses on survival and atmosphere. You can't fight back, which makes every encounter stressful. Hiding, running, and staying quiet are your only options, and mistakes feel costly. The fear doesn't come from fast scares, but from knowing you're powerless when something goes wrong. SOMA isn't just scary because of what chases you. It's scary because of what it makes you think about after you stop playing, which is exactly why it's a horror game that feels much heavier when experienced alone.
Right.
Neurograph, version 6. Good. All files in order.
Will this hurt?
It's just a scan. It'll hurt about as much as getting your picture taken.
Hello? Did something go wrong?
This is where it all went wrong, son. This is where we planted the seed, the cancer that's eating Pathos too. It wasn't meant to be like this. No one told us this could happen.
Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly, starts in a quiet, abandoned village that feels peaceful on the surface. Old houses, narrow paths, and soft lighting make the place seem calm. But there's a heavy and uneasy feeling that never goes away. The story focuses on twin sisters connected to a tragic ritual, giving the horror a strong emotional core instead of relying only on fear. Gameplay keeps you exposed at all times. You don't use guns or melee weapons. Instead, you fight ghosts with a camera, which forces you to face them directly. The closer the spirit gets, the stronger your shot becomes, turning every encounter into a test of nerves and timing. Fatal Frame 2 doesn't try to shock you constantly. It lets fear grow through atmosphere, silence, and emotion, which is why playing it alone can feel deeply uncomfortable from start to finish.
Please. A long time ago, there was a village here that disappeared during a festival, and people who get lost in the woods are called to the village. Do you think this is... What happened?
The ritual will begin soon.
Everyone's dead. Mia, no, stay back, run away. Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly, remake.
Little Nightmares looks small and almost cute at first. The art style feels like a dark fairy tale, and the quiet environments don't seem immediately threatening. Playing as a tiny character in a strange world can even feel calm in the beginning. Gameplay slowly turns that feeling into tension. You're weak, silent, and always trying to avoid being seen. There's no fighting back, only hiding, running, and timing your moves perfectly. One wrong step or slow reaction can end everything, making even simple sections feel stressful. Little Nightmares works by making you feel small and powerless. It doesn't rely on constant scares, but on mood and scale, which is why playing it alone can feel surprisingly intense and uncomfortable. The Evil Within 2 looks more open and less scary at first compared to the original. Brighter areas, wider spaces, and more freedom can make it feel like the horror has been toned down. Early moments give the impression that you have more control and more ways to handle danger. Gameplay slowly proves that feeling wrong. Resources are limited, enemies are unpredictable, and combat punishes careless decisions. You're often forced to choose between fighting, sneaking, or running, and the wrong choice can cost you fast. Boss encounters bring back intense pressure, demanding focus and smart use of what little you have. The Evil Within 2 plays with expectations. It looks more forgiving on the surface, but slowly tightens the pressure until every decision feels heavy, making it a horror game that's much harder to handle when you're playing alone.
Hunting down and killing whoever is left. It's a nightmare. At this rate, there will be no one left in 2 weeks. We're all doomed. I'm sorry.
fealty to me. Bring me the core.
Lily.
You are doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past.
Dad?
I'll keep coming back until one of us is dead.
Come then. I await you.
Amnesia Rebirth feels quiet and almost empty at first. The desert setting and ruined locations give a sense of isolation more than immediate danger. Early moments focus on story and atmosphere, making it seem like a slow, thoughtful experience rather than a terrifying one. Gameplay quickly shows how fragile you really are. You can't fight back, and staying alive depends on hiding, managing fear, and keeping your sanity in check. Darkness becomes a real threat, forcing you to choose between seeing what's ahead or risking your mental state. Mistakes don't feel loud, but they feel heavy. Amnesia Rebirth doesn't rely on constant scares. It creates fear through vulnerability and isolation, making the experience feel much more intense when you're facing it by yourself.
When you realize what the pain has made of you, it has stolen your memories.
Selim, are you there? Anyone, hello? It's Tazzy!
Don't go near it.
You stupid, selfish little girl! We'll all die!
I don't know where this will take us, but it can't be any worse.
The door! Get to the door! Everyone!
I keep blacking out. It feels like I'm losing control.
Run! Run!
No, leave me alone!
Wait!
Ethan, don't lose it. It's important.
Resident Evil 7 Biohazard feels small and grounded right from the start. The setting is just an old house in the middle of nowhere, and early moments focus more on atmosphere than action. It doesn't look like a big, explosive horror game at first, which makes it easy to underestimate. Gameplay quickly turns that calm into stress. Combat is slow and clumsy on purpose. Ammo is limited, and enemies don't go down easily. You're often forced to run, hide, or block instead of fighting back. Every encounter feels risky, and mistakes are punished hard, especially early on. Resident Evil 7 works because it strips away power and comfort. It looks simple on the surface, but once you're trapped inside the Baker house, the fear and pressure hit hard, making it a horror game that's far more intense when experienced alone. Dead Space Remake looks familiar at first, especially if you remember the original. The sci-fi setting, slow movement, and clean visuals make it seem like a polished but predictable horror experience. Early sections feel controlled, giving the sense that you can handle what's coming. Gameplay quickly removes that comfort. Combat is tense and unforgiving, forcing you to aim carefully, manage ammo, and react under pressure. Enemies don't go down easily, and panic leads to mistakes fast. Every fight feels dangerous, especially when multiple threats close in at once. Dead Space Remake doesn't rely on shock alone. It rebuilds tension through pacing, sound, and pressure, turning a known experience into something that still feels heavy and unsettling when you face it by yourself.
Do you want me to be?
How do you know about Mary?
You see it too? For me, it's always like this.
Doesn't matter who I am. I am here for you, James. See? I'm real.
Silent Hill 2 Remake feels slow and quiet from the very beginning. The fog-covered town looks empty, almost calm, and the lack of loud scares makes it seem manageable at first. Early moments focus on mood and mystery, giving the impression that the horror will stay subtle and distant. Gameplay gradually builds tension instead of rushing it. Combat is clumsy on purpose, movement feels heavy, and resources are limited. You're never meant to feel powerful. Enemies are unsettling rather than aggressive, forcing you to move carefully and think before every encounter. Mistakes don't feel explosive, but they feel draining. Silent Hill 2 Remake doesn't try to scare you non-stop. It lets discomfort build through atmosphere and emotion, making the experience linger in your head long after you stop playing, especially when you face it alone.